new snow and ice threat is coming to the US to start March. It will impact many zones, and it could be the first of multiple systems on the way to the US just through next week. This video will break down everything you need to know about that incoming setup.
One Nation Web.
Thank you for joining me in this video. I want to start with an overview of that system expected to bring impacts as we go into the first few days of March. We can do just that by using this blended guidance on screen to give us a look at the future radar signal that I'm talking about on the way Sunday into Monday and Tuesday of next week. You can see that generally as we go towards Sunday in the morning, there won't be much expected to be happening across a lot of the US in terms of precipitation. Things will change with rain, ice, and snow all possible as the next system comes together by late Sunday into early Monday. With energy flowing out of the western US in the jet stream and the polar jet stream meeting up and bringing in cold air, that's going to likely help in forming up a low pressure system. That could bring ice to parts of the plains in the Midwest, along with a corridor of snow in some of those same zones. We will see ice and snow possibly move through parts of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and then over towards the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast before the system is all said and done, heading into Tuesday morning. Ultimately, this system will be part of a larger scale active pattern likely to kick off as we go into March. I'll talk more about this in future videos, but as you can see, heading beyond Monday and Tuesday next week, there will likely be more action, possibly in the form of some very heavy rains, ice, or snow, moving anywhere from the plains all the way on up into the Great Lakes. Of course, this video is more of a focus on that first system, though, and that's what I want to dive into. To dive into more detail with the storm system on the way and the uncertainties with it, let's take a look at the models and what they're showing for the jet stream setup. Don't worry, I'm not going to make this too complicated. Here's an overview of the jet stream setup expected as we head towards the end of Sunday when this system will likely be kicking up. Note what I just mentioned a moment ago. There's going to be energy coming out of the west, meeting on up with polar jet stream energy bringing in cold air from the north. It's not the fact that that's going to happen that's in question. The question is with where that jet stream meetup and clash is going to happen and form the storm system. If I continue to push through the playthrough of this GFS model and we pay closer attention to the jet stream, that's going to help us in noting the discrepancy happening between this model and other models. You can see here that by around late Sunday, the GFS model indicates the western jet stream flow coming up like this, feeding in to that colder air flow, which would be all the way as far south as, say, Missouri and Illinois, and then eventually moving into points east of there. I'm going to leave these lines up on the screen so you can see the difference in where the GFS shows the connection of the jet streams versus where the European model shows the connection of these jet stream areas. Alright, boom, here is the European model. It doesn't look too different, but you can certainly see the strongest polar jet stream flow a bit further north, and stronger flows coming in from the west, also moving up a bit further north. This would mean the low pressure system, aka the winter storm likely to form into early next week, would likely be a bit further north as opposed to what the GFS model is showing. That could be the big difference between who sees snow or ice depending on which model ends up correct. Now that you've seen the difference in the jet stream setup the GFS is showing versus the jet stream setup the European model is showing, I want to give you a look at how that creates a difference in where each of these models shows the rain, the ice, and the snow out of this particular system. Let's start with a look at the GFS model and where it is showing ice and snow and rain. I'll circle the ice and snow zone, and then we'll circle the European model ice and snow zone so you can see what's overlapping and where there's some differences as a result of the positioning. Starting with the Sunday evening time frame, you can clearly see the GFS model indicating some snowfall and ice breaking out over parts of the central plains first, then eventually stretching through parts of Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, then over into the Mid-Atlantic. Overall, with a trajectory of the snow about like this with ice around that southern part of the circled area. Pivoting over to the European model now, you can see it shows snow and ice starting around a similar time around Sunday evening, but you can already see it being a bit further north, kicking up in northern Kansas and northern Missouri to begin with, and pivoting over really into the upper Midwest, parts of northern Illinois, the Great Lakes getting included in the action here, more than what the GFS model was showing. Eventually, the Euro model has this potential ice and snow dying off closer to the mid-Atlantic shores, but even a bit further north there than what the GFS model was really indicating. Ultimately, it's pretty normal for the models to fight over where they think the jet stream will be and where that will result in rain, ice, and snow lines happening. Given the info that I have for now, I can certainly tell you that there will likely be a corridor of some ice and snow somewhere in this zone that I'm boxing in, where either the GFS or the Euro model is showing that happening. However, is it going to be along that exact track the Euro model was showing? Is it going to be on that track the GFS model was showing? Is it going to be somewhere in between, or leaning closer to one of the models versus the other? It's a bit unknown. To get a slightly better grasp on who has the true best chance of seeing snow or ice out of this particular event, we can look at some blended guidance. This is where you get a combo of models essentially coming together, and we can play the probability game using that guidance. Let's start with blended guidance and where it is showing the percent chance of at least an inch of snow being the highest out of this particular system. You can see that really it's in that exact spot kind of between the GFS and the European model tracks, where this blend of guidance is showing that highest chance of an inch of snow. So if a system were to happen right now and you were to blend the models together, they would suggest the highest chance of that snow swath really being through Springfield, Illinois, Chicago, Indy, Fort Wayne, Columbus, Ohio, getting up into Cincinnati, Erie, PA, State College, Philadelphia, all of these cities. There's at least a 60 to an 80% chance in that zone based on current guidance. So I'd definitely be on the lookout there. But could it end up being down here where we see the impacts? Could it be up here? Certainly so. There's at least a chance in those zones. I think this blended guidance probability does a good job of meeting in the middle of the GFS and the Euro for now, though. We can also use some blended guidance to look at the best chance zones for possible ice accretion. Keep in mind, again, we've got differing solutions. This is just kind of the blend of all of them, showing you the best chance areas for the heaviest freezing rain potential. Looking at the Sunday night time frame, that's when we could see some ice around the Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa border vicinity, right in the circled zone. I think that's where there's the highest chance of some possible ice to kick off this system. From that point on, we could see ice all the way up near Chicago. We could see ice all the way down near Paducah, Kentucky. When you really meet in the middle of that, the average of guidance would suggest the best chance of ice right through southern Illinois, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, northern Kentucky. Then again on the east side of West Virginia, heading into the Piedmont there in Virginia, Maryland, southern PA. Ultimately, there remains some discrepancy in the models. This is just a blend of guidance giving you a general suggestion as to snow and ice totals and areas to watch. I'll keep you updated on this storm as models hopefully get closer together in the day or two ahead. With that being said, that's all I've got for now when it comes to the expected winter storm. Let's turn and talk a little bit about temperatures before the end of this update. Taking a look at the temperature anomalies expected across the country heading towards the end of the weekend into the first day of March, you can really see the split in the temperatures across the country, likely to be formed by the polar jet stream really riding down in this fashion over the time period. There will likely be temperatures 10 to 15 to 20 to even 25 degrees below average up in parts of the upper Midwest, with some of those below average anomalies possibly extending all the way down towards the Ohio River Valley by Monday. Further down to the south of there, though, we're going to have warmer than average temperatures in the southeast and all the way back towards the southwest and the west coast, continuing into the start of March. Again, a big split really is likely to occur over the United States heading towards this weekend and into early next week. On Saturday, for example, there will likely be highs around 10 to 20 degrees at the peak heating of the day on a Saturday in the northern U.S. Due south of this exact spot in Minnesota, there will be temperatures around 80 as you go down into Louisiana and eastern Texas at that exact same time. This is going to be a really crazy contrast pattern, and of course heading into Sunday, any warmth around the Ohio Valley will likely be depleted as we see colder air flowing in, and of course that resulting chance of ice or snow with whatever precipitation ends up falling. Even this temperature forecast is subject to change a bit though, because of the fact that the jet stream could be a bit more like this or like this, maybe even further north depending on which model you look at. I'll keep you updated on that and exactly what that means for that storm system and more, of course, as we go into the future. For now, though, let's talk about the headlines and recap everything I just discussed. Of course, the models are locked in on that chance for snow and ice that could impact a notable swath of areas March 1st through March 3rd. Pockets of over 4 inches of snow and over 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain, aka ice, that could be possible as we go out of Sunday into Monday and Tuesday. The setup will come amidst a split pattern with heat in the south and temperatures more common of January up north, Ultimately, the exact positioning of the coldest temperatures, the exact positioning of the storm system remain in question as a result of the models having discrepancies over where the jet stream will be located. I'll let you know when the models come together, and I'm thinking that's going to be tomorrow, so I intend to do an update Friday. If I don't have one Friday, I'll likely have one on Saturday. Stay tuned for that by hitting that subscribe button, making sure you have those notifications turned on by hitting that bell icon. That's all I got to say in this update, though. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you all. I hope to see you back in the next update.
One nation weather.